Thomas and the Circus. The engines were very excited. The circus was coming to the island of Sodor. Percy was looking forward to seeing the clever dancing horses. James couldn't wait to see the funny clowns with their big shoes and bright red noses. And Thomas, he just wanted to see the pop-up tent go up. All the engines wanted to be chosen to go to the docks to collect the circus, but who would the Fat Controller ask? It was Thomas. He was excited, but Thomas, the Fat Controller said, if there are too many trucks for you to pull, you must share the work with the other engines. Yes, sir, I will, said Thomas, and he steamed off happily with Annie and Clarabelle. At the docks, Cranky the Crane had loaded the circus train. There were horse boxes and costumes and people everywhere. The acrobats and clowns climbed aboard. Annie and Clarabelle carried the ringmaster and the band. Salty shunted the very long, heavy circus train into place behind Thomas. Need any help, matey? Salty asks. Thomas remembered what the Fat Controller had said about sharing the work, but he wanted to pull the circus train all by himself. No, thank you, Salty, he said. I can do it. Then Thomas took the biggest puff he could and slowly chuffed out into the countryside. Thomas wanted to do a very good job, and he had to work very hard indeed. His pistons pumped and his traction rods rattled, but Thomas was so happy that he took no notice.
You can freeze your car.
When Thomas pulled the circus train to Marin Station, he got a lovely surprise. The platforms were full of people waving and cheering. The circus performers waved back, and the band played a cheerful song. Thomas was so happy that he joined in by blowing in his whistle. Peep, peep! When Thomas had to stop at the junction, children lined the bridge to wave and cheer. Thomas blew his whistle extra loudly for them. Percy chuffed alongside Thomas. He wanted to help. Is there anything I can take for you, Thomas? He asked. But Thomas wanted to do everything by himself. He was having too much fun on his own to accept help from Percy. No thanks, you, Percy, he said. I'll do it on my own. Oh, I see, Percy said, disappointed as he watched Thomas chuff away. Thomas puffed on and on. The train felt heavier and heavier and heavier. His traction rods rattled and rattled and rattled. When he stopped at a signal, James was waiting in a side. Like Percy, James wanted to help with the circus train. If you uncouple some trucks, I can take them for you, James offered. But Thomas didn't want any help, even though he was tired. No thanks, James said. I can do it on my own. Thomas steamed off again, but the load was heavy and his axles ached. Every puff was harder and every chuff made it feel more and more tired. When Thomas passed through the next station, he didn't even have enough steam to whistle to the people waving from the platform. He couldn't manage even one signal, tiny toot. He was almost all out of puff. Then out in the countryside, creak, crack! Thomas's traction rods broke and he stopped with a jolt. He couldn't move. Thomas was very worried, and so were the circus performers. We need to practice, said one of the clowns. And the horses need more hay, said the ringmaster. Thomas's driver telephoned for help, and soon James arrived with new traction rods. Percy brought some hay for the horses too. Thomas was very sorry to have caused a delay. I wanted to keep all the fun to myself, said Thomas. But now I wish I had shared the work with you. Never mind. We'll all have fun now, puffed Percy kindly. Thomas had his new traction rods fitted, he was uncoupled from the trucks, and Percy and James took the dancing horses and the funny clowns, and Thomas took the band in the big pop tent. Then the circus band started playing, and the circus train set off again. Percy was right. Sharing the work was much more fun. Now, when people waved and cheered, 3 engines blew their whistles. Later on, when the circus had been set up, the engines went to look at the big pop-up tent. "Thank you for helping me," peeped Thomas to James and Percy. "Sharing work is good because it makes the job easier, but sharing fun with your friends is even better." The end.